Question number 30. Which of the following statements regarding multiple effect evaporator is or are true? So, this is probably a question of MSQ. First, let's look at the types of multiple effect evaporators. So, this is a forward feed evaporator. What happens? The steam enters the first effect, enters the steam chest, and the condensate comes out. The vapor from evaporation of water from the first effect goes like this, and enters a steam chest of the second evaporator, and the condensate comes out. Then the vapor from the second effect goes to the third effect and enters the steam chest, comes out, condensate comes out, and so forth. So, we have only 3 effects. So, this is not there. So, basically the vapor from here goes to the condenser, which is or could be a vacuum. Next, let's look into the backward feed evaporator. Here, so as you can see for the forward feed evaporator, steam flows in this direction from first to second to third, and the liquid also flows along the same direction. So, the liquid from the first evaporator goes here, and from the second evaporator goes as a feed to the third evaporator, and this as the final product comes out. And of course, that temperature is highest here, and the pressure is also highest. Okay. Now, let us look into the backward feed evaporator. In case of the backward feed evaporator, the flow of steam remains the same. So, it enters the first steam chest of the first evaporator, and the vapor from the first evaporator goes to the second, and the vapor from the second goes to the third, and of course, this condensate from each evaporator comes out and goes to a common manifold. And the liquid here, there is a fourth effect shown. It will be same for the triple effect evaporator also. The cold feed, the fresh feed enters the first evaporator. Here we have shown as 4, but actually it will be entering here, right. So, this is my feed, enters here, and what happens? The feed from the first effect evaporator, so from the third effect evaporator goes to the second with the help of a pump, of course, and again the feed, the concentrated product from the second evaporator goes to the first, and of course the final product comes out from here. And of course, the temperature is highest as here, and the pressure is highest here. So, let us now look into the different options. Okay. The first option is the pressure of the effect with the fresh steam. So, in fresh steam. So, in case of forward feed evaporator, this is the first effect, and in case of backward feed fresh steam. So, let me show here. In case of forward feed evaporator, the fresh steam is entering the first feed evaporator, whereas in case of backward feed evaporator, it just the flow of the liquid is opposite, but the steam again enters the first effect. So, the temperature and pressure on both cases are highest at the first evaporator, and it keeps on decreasing as it goes from the first to second to third. So, if it says the pressure of the effect with the fresh steam, which is the same fresh steam, this is the fresh steam for forward feed, and this is also the fresh steam for the backward feed, is saying the lowest. That is not true, it is the highest. Okay. So, this is not true, false. Second option B, backward feed is preferred over forward feed for cold feed. Yes, because here of course as the temperature is the lowest here, so in case of backward feed the feed enters the last effect where the temperature is the lowest. So that gives you a higher thermal stability for the system. So that is of course true. The backward feed is preferred over forward feed for cold feed. That is true. Backward feed is preferred over forward feed for highly viscous concentrated product. Yes, that is also true, because if this is a very highly viscous product, so it enters cold, and as it gets heated up, as it moves along this direction, the concentration, highest concentration takes place at the very first effect here, which is reasonable because by that time as the temperature rises the viscosity decreases. So this is the most efficient mode of heat transfer. So in case of very viscous fluids, backward feed is preferred. So this is also true. The temperature of the effect with the fresh steam is the lowest for both forward and backward feed. That is also again not true, because both for backward feed and the forward feed temperature is the highest, temperature and pressure is the highest for the effect where steam is first entering. So this is highest here, so highest here, highest here. So this is also false. So the correct options are B and C.